At the start of a new year, many people do the same small ritual without calling it a ritual. We open our phone and look for a sign. A headline. A number. A chart. Something that tells us whether the world is calmer or louder than yesterday. Some people do it with coffee still in their hand. Some do it on the train. Some do it in bed before their feet touch the floor. We pretend we are only checking information, but often we are checking for safety. We are asking a quiet question without saying it out loud: is it going to be okay? And we do this even when we know the answer will be complicated. That is the context we live in now. We live in a time when the world feels connected by wires and screens, but our sense of control feels thin. News travels fast. Fear travels faster. Power decisions in one place can change daily life in another place within hours. And because it feels so large, many people respond in one of two ways. They either turn away and go numb. Or they turn toward it and become tense, reading more and more, hoping knowledge will calm them. But knowledge alone does not always calm. Sometimes it only widens the picture and makes the uncertainty clearer. The surface idea many people talk about is risk. The world has always had risks. War, conflict, economic shocks, political change, natural disasters. But what feels different is not that problems exist. What feels different is the speed of change and the feeling that the rules are less stable. When rules feel stable, even bad news can be placed inside a known frame. You know what happens next, you know what the steps are, you know who must answer to whom. But when rules feel shaky, every event feels like it could spill over its borders. Even a local crisis can feel like a global signal. People start thinking in extremes. They start expecting surprise. They start planning for worst cases because they no longer trust normal cases. You can see this in ordinary conversations. A friend says, "I do not know if I should change jobs this year, the world feels uncertain." A parent wonders if their child should study abroad or stay close to home. A business owner delays hiring because the next policy shift might change costs overnight. Even people who never talk about politics start using phrases like, "Things are getting strange." This is the surface layer. Risk is rising. But the next layer is the hidden assumption, and it quietly shapes how we react. The hidden assumption is that the world is supposed to make sense to us. That if we collect enough facts we can understand who is in control and what they will do next. That leaders will act in predictable ways because they must follow a shared standard. When that assumption breaks, the emotional impact is larger than the practical impact. It is not only that we fear specific events. It is that we fear the loss of a reliable map. And when people lose a reliable map, they look for new maps. Some look for strong, simple stories. Some look for one person to blame. Some look for one person to save them. Some look for a new team to join. In uncertain times, the human mind loves clean lines. Good and bad. Friend and enemy. Safe and unsafe. But real life is not clean. So these new maps often create more conflict. They do not reduce fear. They only redirect it. There is also a structural pattern in how power behaves when the map feels weak. When leaders feel blocked in one area, they often switch tools. If they cannot get results through economics, they may use pressure. If they cannot get respect through negotiation, they may use force. If they cannot shape the story through normal institutions, they may attack the institutions. This pattern is not new. It is old. But it becomes more visible when a country or a leader believes they can act without cost. Power moves like water. It flows where resistance is low. It stops when it hits something solid. So when people ask, why would a leader do something so extreme, part of the answer is not ideology, it is testing. Testing the limits. Testing who will push back. Testing what will be tolerated. And the result is a world where everyone watches everyone. Allies watch allies. Rivals watch rivals. Smaller countries watch larger countries and wonder which rules still protect them. Citizens watch their own systems and wonder which parts still hold. In daily life, this shows up as a background tension. You might notice it when a family dinner turns tense over a small comment about the news. You might notice it when someone says, "Do not talk about that, it is too much." You might notice it when you feel tired even though nothing personal happened to you that day. That tiredness can come from carrying uncertainty as a constant weight. Now here is the reframing that matters. We often talk about optimism as if it is the same as hope. But they are different. Optimism is a prediction. It says, "I think things will go well." Hope is a practice. It says, "I will not give up my ability to act, even when I cannot predict the outcome." This difference sounds small, but it changes how you stand in the world. If you demand optimism, you will be disappointed often, because the evidence will not always support it. But if you practice hope, you can stay engaged without pretending. You can say, "I see the risks, I see the cracks, I see the fear, and I still choose to build what I can build." This is not naive. It is grounded. It accepts uncertainty and still makes room for agency. Agency is another word that sounds abstract, so let us make it concrete. Agency is when you choose one small action instead of only reacting. It is when you decide how you will speak, how you will listen, how you will treat people you disagree with, how you will spend your time, what you will share online, what you will refuse to share. It is when you notice that your attention is a resource and you stop giving it away to outrage that brings no result. This is where daily life becomes the training ground for global life. If the world is moving towards stronger pressure and weaker trust, then the most important skill is not knowing every headline. The skill is learning how to stay clear and human under stress. In daily life, you can practice this in plain ways. You can check the news once or twice and then stop, because you know endless checking will not change the facts, it will only change your nervous system. You can choose one issue to learn deeply instead of 10 issues to skim. You can talk to someone who thinks differently and aim for understanding, not victory. You can support local groups that do real work, because real work restores a sense of ground. You can be careful with language, because in tense times words become weapons quickly, and you do not need to add to the fire. You can also notice where fear is trying to turn you into a simpler person. Fear tries to shrink us. It tries to make us impatient. It tries to make us cruel in small ways, like quick judging, quick blaming, quick mocking. So hope can be as small as slowing down before you reply. It can be as small as asking, "What do you mean?" before you assume. It can be as small as keeping your promises, because trust grows from repeated small proof. There is also a deeper point about crisis that many people resist. Crisis is painful, but it can also reveal what was already broken. Sometimes systems drift for years with hidden damage. People feel it but cannot name it. They feel unseen. They feel that leaders do not listen. They feel that rules serve some groups and not others. These feelings do not disappear just because leaders say the system is fine. They grow. Then crisis arrives, and suddenly what was hidden becomes visible. This can lead to ugly outcomes, but it can also create a moment when change is possible. Not guaranteed, possible. And possibility is where hope lives. Not in certainty, in possibility. But possibility requires effort. It requires citizens who can hold two truths at once. The truth that things are hard and the truth that change is still made by people. It requires leaders who can face complexity without feeding panic. It requires media that informs without turning every event into a daily apocalypse. It requires communities that do not treat every disagreement as betrayal. This is hard, because stress makes us reactive. So we need tools. And one set of tools is technology. Technology can widen education, support organization, spread health information, connect people across borders. It can also spread lies faster, deepen anger, and reward shallow thinking. So the real question is not whether tools exist. Tools always exist. The real question is who holds them, who designs them, and what values guide how they are used. In that sense, the future is not only about what powerful countries do. It is also about what ordinary people accept, repeat, and normalize. If you want a calm way to hold all of this, you can think in terms of posture rather than prediction. A posture is how you stand while the ground is moving. A hopeful posture says, I will stay awake, but I will not become addicted to panic. I will take risks seriously, but I will not treat every rumor as a fact. I will protect my attention, because my attention shapes my life. I will stay connected to people, because isolation makes fear louder. I will keep learning, because confusion is normal in complex times. And I will do one thing that helps, even if it is small, because small help is how trust is rebuilt. Optional deepening is not adding new topics, it is returning to the same one with softer light. So let us return to that morning ritual, the phone, the headline, the quiet question, is it going to be okay? Maybe the better question is not, will the world be safe, because none of us can promise that. Maybe the better question is, what kind of person will I be while the world is uncertain? Will I become sharper in the worst way, suspicious, impatient, quick to hate? Or will I become sharper in the best way, more attentive, more honest, more careful with power, more willing to cooperate? Because the world is shaped by millions of small choices that become culture. Culture becomes permission. Permission becomes policy. Policy becomes the next set of headlines that someone reads with coffee in hand. So if you want to be hopeful without pretending, you can start with one day. One conversation. One decision about what you will repeat and what you will refuse. One decision about where you will place your care. And over time, that is how a person stays human in a year that feels like a tipping point. So when you look at the risks around you and you feel that old urge to either panic or go numb, what is one small hopeful action you can take this week that would help you stay clear and connected?